What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We do have some new parts in today. It is a nice fall day out. Starting to get kind of colder outside. I finally have received everything to do up an exhaust system on the car. So I have a kit basically that I made that I'm going to be making myself here and installing, or at least attempting to install on this car. I want to get rid of the stock exhaust setup. It's just too quiet. I'm not getting any pops or bangs like I'm supposed to be getting on it, and we just need to wake it up a little bit, hopefully liven it up. And by doing this, we're also going to be not only adding power to the car, hopefully, but we're also going to be reducing some weight too by getting rid of both the giant stock muffler that this has, also known as the suitcase muffler, that huge piece right there. And I'm also going to be getting rid of the resonator. The plan is we're going to take this exhaust piping and we're going to start it all the way up as far as we can start it. About right behind the transmission is where we're going to probably start it, and then we're going to route it back. I still am going to run a dual exhaust on this car because I like the looks of it. So we are going to do that. I did pick up, so here's the kit that we have here just so we can show you everything. This is just a universal kit. I did go with 2 1/4 inch piping on this. This is 304 stainless. 304 stainless is the way to go. It's just good quality stuff. It's not going to rust super easy. When you live in Michigan, everything wants to rust. So I think that's a great option for here. And also the 2 1/4 inch. I know what you're thinking. Oh, why didn't you go 2 1/2 or 3 inch? You can do that. That's fine. But the issue is it's going to be almost too big of a diameter, and you're going to be losing all the down low power. The only point in time you're going to be getting extra gains from running a bigger size exhaust diameter is going to be at those way high RPMs that a majority of the time you're not going to be at, and you're not going to see that power. This is just a universal kit though. You get 2 4-foot long pieces, you get 2 180-degree pieces, 2 45s and 2 90s. Additionally, I did pick up another 90-degree just because I may need this. So we have that. We have my Y pipe right here. This is where I'm going to dual it off and basically split it. This should make it pretty easy for us to do. These are my 2 mufflers that I picked up right here. They're pretty small. I was hoping that they would be a little bit bigger, but these are from Total Flow. I thought they were a little bit pricey for what they are. I think 2 1/4 inch is just an oddball size, but these are 2 1/4 as well. And then this main piece here is 4 inches. And these are only 10 inches long, so they're fairly short. I'll show you where we're going to route these once we get this car jacked up. And then we have some exhaust hangers, and then I have some exhaust tips. These are going to look hopefully a lot better than these crappy ones right here. And you also can't even hardly see these, so these, I'd like these to stick out a little bit more. I think the black's going to look a lot better on here too as well. Now that we got that established, let's just do a cold start for the boys really quick. And you can hear what this sounds like, so we'll do a before and an after. And yes, the car is warmed up, so don't worry about that. While this is cooling off, we'll just let the exhaust cool off before we do work on it. I do need to get my welder set up. So I haven't did really any welding of any sort before. I have a couple of different machines to try out and a new setup. Hopefully everything goes well with that. If not, heck, I'm not even going to be able to weld any of this exhaust if I can't get this going. So let's get that set up and we'll get this car jacked up, and I'll be back with you once I figure this out. I am back. Ultimately, that welder that I was working on, I was not able to get it to work. So I did pick up a brand new MIG welder that we're going to try out. Hopefully this works out great. We got the car back up in the air. I did pull off the 2 exhaust tips that go on the back, these little chrome pieces. They're not even part of the actual exhaust, they just go on the rear bumper. There's 3 bolts for these, 2 on the sides and then 1 on the top. So both of those are off. Right now I'm currently just working on getting this exhaust, the stock exhaust system out of here. This is the big giant suitcase back here. Looks like there's just a couple hangers that we'll have to remove. One on each side, so there's one up there. and then there's one over there. I have the front section. I'll go take you to the front so you can see it here. So here you have two hangers, one on each side. These are what hold this piece mainly up here. One of my bolts did break for that flange up there, so I will hopefully need to get a replacement, and hopefully I'll be able to repair that. But right now I'm pretty much just going all the way down and back. We're gonna get this whole system out of here, and then we're gonna basically size it up and kind of see how my new setup is going to be made and how we're going to install it in the car. I just got the exhaust out of the car. It's one whole piece, pretty much goes all the way up to just a short section behind the transmission. It's definitely one big unit. Seems like they would have did this in a couple pieces. It's also pretty darn heavy since it's all together. So the only thing that I plan on using from this is just this front part, because I do want to keep and retain that flange right there, so I don't have to make some other different type of connector. And I'll also keep these factory mounting pieces right here, so that way those fit up perfectly. So I'm gonna cut it probably right about in here, give us a little bit of room, and then we're gonna start by making my exhaust from right here all the way back. So we're gonna be deleting the resonator, also deleting the rear suitcase muffler, and we should be sizing up a little bit in diameter for the piping. I think this only goes down to either 2 inch or 2 1/8. So I'll double check the size on this. But as I'd stated before, I'm gonna be running 2 1/4 inch for all the section that I'm gonna be doing, which it looks like that's very similar in size to what this is up here in this section. I was just sizing up the diameter of this, kind of curious to see what it was in comparison to my new piping. So my new piping, so this is the 2 1/4 inch. You'll notice one side is nice and even, and then the other side, and they do this intentionally with these kits, is a little bit beveled, you can see there. And this is so that way you can slip this over the end for your other pieces in the kit. If I take the normal side here that is not widened up, basically it's about the same exact fit as this. I can't quite get the old one to fit inside, so my guess is this is probably about 2 1/4 inch too as well. If not, it's gonna be pretty darn close. I'm gonna show you the plan real quick with the exhaust and the setup that I plan on running. So previously you saw that I cut off my exhaust, the rest of the section, from all the way right here. So this is right about where the driver door is on the car, and it's cut off all the way back. We are missing it. So we're gonna be building it from this section right here. I have this straight piece that we're gonna route back. Basically this is gonna go in place of the resonator that comes on the car. So I plan on running this pipe and connecting it to that. We'll weld that on, and then we're gonna put a 90-degree right here and basically just tub this exhaust in and get it to work right where the factory exhaust curves. So we'll do a 90-degree right here, and then we're gonna bring it to right here and then run another 90-degree with a 45, and that should give us this angle to go back that way, and then we'll have to do another 45 to kick it back out straight. I'm gonna get this part tack welded up so I can get this straight section in here, and then we'll just kind of build it from there. I just finished up making my first weld right here. Not the prettiest thing in the world, definitely boogered up part of it. Kind of started to get the technique down a little bit better, so hopefully we can execute this a little bit better on the rest of our welds. I'm hoping that this will not leak. It may, but nonetheless, we'll at least get this exhaust kind of pieced together. Right now, we're gonna be doing our first 90-degree. Kind of difficult for me to do this underneath the car, hold it up in place, and also weld it. There's just way too tight of a space to do it. So the trick I came up with was I took a Sharpie marker and basically I drew a line with these aligned up where I needed them. If we rotate this, you'll see I have a line right there on the bottom. So we're gonna hold this in place outside of the car, and weld this once we get that aligned up right there. I just got done welding up another 90 degree. So we have from our main basically section off the downpipe, straight section going to a 90 with a very short piece, and then just a very short 90 right here. I'm about to go size this up in the car, do another 45. This is my weld for this. Definitely much cleaner and significantly better all the way around compared to the very start of things, which was very sloppy, and I'm not even sure if that's gonna hold or not. Nonetheless, I'm pretty confident that this is pretty strong and durable. I'm getting better with this welder, so let's go get the rest of these pieces sized up and welded on. I just figured I'd give you a quick update for where I'm at with this exhaust. Coming in from the back side, if we take a look in here, this is everything that I've made so far. This will just tuck up right basically into the little tub, the factory tub that's already on this car. Pretty darn nicely, can't complain there. What I was doing is I needed to put another 45. So basically after this section right here, it's gonna come finish all the way right here, and then this is gonna come straight back, and this is where I'm gonna run my dual. Once I hooked a 45 up to this, it looked like the angle was off a little bit, so we're gonna have to make a cut into this in order for this to be the proper angle that we're looking for, so that way this ends up running straight back and not kind of a little bit cockeyed. We just welded up our last piece. Right now we have our Y section that we're gonna do. This is where we're gonna split these off. I just have a jack underneath it supporting basically the whole exhaust, pushing this up. And I have this exactly in place where I want it. I measured it. These are both aligned pretty straight. I'm gonna tack weld this in underneath the car. That's just gonna make things a little bit easier. And then once we do that, we can start kind of sizing everything up and getting in the rest of our pieces. We're gonna tack hopefully pretty much everything up on the car. Once we do this, we can also get this back part mounted. There's another mount point right up directly above my Y that we're gonna use to lift it up and hold it in place. Just a quick update for the exhaust here. I did end up extending out this piece right here. I had to put in just a straight piece. We just finished up doing our Y piece to split to our dual, and I just added in my first muffler right here. I did have to cut down this muffler just a little bit. These were just too long on it, so I did have to shorten it so that way we would have room to do our elbow, so we could do it out the side here. Right now I just tacked down this piece right here so that way we could get this in. I'm just gonna tack up pretty much this whole entire back section so that way we can pull it out of the car and weld it all together all at once everything's kind of set and in place. I do have a bracket, or at least I have a hanger right over there for the split Y, and then there's also one on the other side too as well over there. So I will do that. I'm just going to finish up this side here really quick. I have another elbow piece here that pretty much we're going to stick in here. It's going to look just about like this, and once I put that hanger on, it should pull up this section here a little bit. So there's the hanger. It should pull this section up a little bit higher and have that sitting where we want that to sit. So I'll have to make sure to do that, and then once that's set, pretty much we can just throw the tip on this side. There is a little bit of room for play as far as I can put the pipe further in or further out depending on how far out I want this to set. I have this piece all mocked up. This is pretty close to what the tip is going to look like. I will be able to move and adjust this tip a little bit. Right now I'm just finished. I'm going to be tacking in my mounting bracket piece right here. I just bent this to shape, kind of curled it around the bottom so that way we have 2 points of contact for us to weld this on there. And then this side is basically set to go. Then we will pretty much template in our other side over there and get that all tacked up so we can weld everything together. I'm just fixing in my last piece right now that I need to do. This side is basically all set and tacked in. And this side, we just have everything lined up, measured it. I have this kind of holding it up so that way we have it at the right height that we're looking for. Let's get this welded on here so that way we'll have this 90 degree over here. And then the last thing I'll need to do is just cut this section over here to length. All of my brackets, all of my hangers are now mounted up. Got those all welded on. I have 3 of them in the rear, so 1 here on this side, 1 over there, and then the middle one right there. Last thing that I will need to do is cut off all the excess. So we'll take off and chop all these with just a cutoff wheel. There's a big one hanging right there too. We'll get that one off, chop those off, and then we can throw our tips on our mufflers here for our exhaust. And that's pretty much going to be about it. And then we have pretty much a first start after that. Last thing to do here to complete it is throw on our exhaust tip. There's just 3 bolts on these, and this is a universal one that I got, so it fits this side piping that I have. So there's 1 bolt here, 1 bolt on the side, and then 1 on the bottom. So 3 bolts in total. And then you can also move this around kind of a little bit, so there is some room for play. Looks like this side may be a little bit lower than that side, which bugs me a little bit, but it is what it is. But we're gonna try to maneuver this so that way it looks a little bit better. And then also I do want these tips to hang out. If we take a look at this bumper, I want them to hang out just slightly. The factory ones, they didn't really hang out at all, and it was more so just the chrome cover piece, and that's it. You could only pretty much see them from the bottom. I want you to actually be able to see these tips. Let's get these oriented, and I'll show you what it's gonna look like here in a sec. Here's how this looks from the back end. You can finally see the exhaust actually hangs out a little bit. Just the tiniest little bit of poke is what we're running here. Just to kind of show you, this side is up nice and tight. This is really good, about exactly what you're looking for. A little bit of space here in between. You don't want this bumper getting hot or anything. Not that it would get too hot, but just to be safe. And then if we come over to here, this one drops, it's a little bit lower. It's actually about closer to a 3-finger gap, unfortunately. I might be able to move this up a little bit with the play that I have. We'll see, but if not, not a deal breaker. Now that we are completed with the exhaust, I want to lower this down and see how low this exhaust hangs. It should be up higher since we don't have that big giant muffler on it, but I'm super curious to see how low this is going to set. Look at that. We have plenty of ground clearance. I would say the least amount that I am seeing is probably right here. And even with that, we probably have 7 to 8 inches, I would say, right about here, which is pretty darn good. I do like the look of the dual mufflers, the way that they are set up like that. Definitely a little bit of work to do, but I think it's the best looking setup for this. And obviously you have to run the dual exhaust that these have. Next up, we'll just have to do a first start and see what it sounds like. I hope that there is no leaks, or at least any significant leaks that I'll notice. And I'm super curious to know what these mufflers are going to sound like. This is going to be the very first cold start that we're going to be doing. I'm also going to list in here a couple of flybys so that way we can get an idea of what this exhaust sounds like. Let's give this a cold start for the boys. That sounds pretty darn good. So far I'm liking it. The cold start sounded really good. It does sound like it is idling down a little bit and getting a little bit more quieter, but we will see what this sounds like. I'll give it a couple revs here in just a minute, but as of right now, so far so good. that's going to be a wrap for this exhaust video. Definitely worth it in my opinion. I love the sounds that this car is making right now. Aside from the little bit of the riciness sounds, I might make some adjustments and see if there is an exhaust leak or something like that that's causing that. But for right now, this is what we got. So thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, and subscribe.